What's up everyone, Adam here from Cape Crawlers, and this is the Bronco build Phase 2. Alright, welcome back to the Bronco build. This is Phase 2. So if you remember from the first video, if you saw that video, we did a handful of upgrades with the first phase. So we did, just a quick recap if you didn't see that video. We did the Endura beadlock wheels, the Endura soft mud terrain tires, we did the double barrel shocks, mounted them to the frame. We did the Trial hex extensions in the wheels to add some weight and 5 millimeters to each side. Previous modifications before we started the build officially, we had RC all-wheel drive steering linkage. We had Coda Racing diff covers. We added a Hot Racing heavier diff cover in the front as part of the Phase 1 build as well. So that brings us to Phase 2. So let's take a look at what we've got for this part of the build. So now that we've got extra width in our track here, we're much wider. We've got some significant weight additions here. We've added well over 100 grams to this thing. Now we've got power issues and we've got steering issues. Particularly with the steering, the stock servo is really suffering with this wide track and these grippy tires and the extra weight out on the wheels. So what we're going to do, we're going to upgrade the steering. We've got this kit from Endura. We've got a Emac Servo. Comes with the servo tray and a servo horn as well. These nice aluminum servo horns. So we got this kit for 25 bucks on Amazon. We're also going to upgrade the motor. So we got the new Torque Beast 3.0 in 50 size from Mofo RC. I'm super excited to put this in here. So if you recall, our budget is around $50 a week, so it was, I think, $24.99 was shipping for the Torque Beast, and 25 bucks for our servo setup. So we're right at budget. There is one other upgrade that we did too that I'll show you a little later on, but that didn't count as part of the budget because it was actually a gift. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's do a demo run with the Bronco as is, so we can kind of see where we're at, and then we'll throw the upgrades in, and then we'll do another run to see how much we've improved. Yeah, see my steering right there. I can't go any further. It just doesn't have the juice to turn the wheels. Yeah, it's got no steering. So you really struggling, there's really grippy up here, so it just doesn't have the juice to turn the wheels hardly at all on these grippy terrain. I wish I had more power there to kind of help me out of that hole. Alright, as you can see, steering was definitely a glaring issue that needed to be fixed. That course is really grippy, and that just, even on a flat surface, that just couldn't really turn the wheels hardly at all. It was really difficult to maneuver. And there was just a couple places where I just wish it had more torque to kind of just push itself out, and a little more juice to climb up some of those more challenging lines. So that's going to be the goal of this video and this phase, is to address those two critical issues. So let's install these, and then we'll do a recap of the components, and then we'll do another drive to see how it worked out. So while I'm working my way through this here, just a quick comparison. You look at the motors here. So this is the stock motor that comes in the 124s. It's a 30 size motor. Torque Beast is a 50 size motor, so you can see the size difference in the motors here. One of the things I like about the Torque Beast is that it uses the stock motor plate. It's like a lot of the Enduras, you have to swap out this metal plate. The Torque Beast is a direct bolt-on. You don't have to change any of this. But since it is a bigger size, it's the 50 size, we do have to cut off one of the legs of the battery tray. It's just so that it can fit underneath there, because it's a clearance issue. There is a Torque Beast in the 30 size that is the same size as the stock motor that you can do with no modifications to your battery tray, but I wanted the bigger motor just for a little more power and a little more top speed, so that's why we went with the 50 size. Here's one more tip while we're in kind of the final stages of assembly here. So this nylon nut here that holds this gear on the transmission that connects to the motor, you want to be real careful not to over tighten that. You just want this to be just tight enough so that you don't have any slop in this gear. If you over tighten it, you'll start burning out motors. And I only know this because I did it to the C10. I went through 3 motors before I finally realized that I was over tightening this nut. Even like not even really tight, but just tightening it just too much, even just a little bit, was burning out all my motors. So just make sure that you've got it just tight enough, basically like finger tight, so that this gear doesn't slop around. And then you want to make sure that everything's smooth before you put it all back together, so this looks good. So just a quick tip there to save you some motors if you do end up swapping these things out. Okay, we're just about done. We got the motor in, the servo, everything in, but I did want to talk about one more upgrade that we did for this this phase, and this was the addition of the Cvd Front Axles. So these are courtesy of RC All-Wheel Drive. They hooked me up with these to give them a shot, and you can see the quality here. These are excellent units here. So what it does is it eliminates the dog bone setup. Instead of having 2 pieces where you have the outer axle shaft hooks onto the inner axle shaft via dog bone, you've got this kind of just constant velocity hook up here. And the benefits are, one, added strength, but also less binding and smoother operation, especially at kind of extreme steering angles. So we threw these in here as well. So we'll see how this performs with all this upgraded steering components. I'm excited to try this out. Okay, here it is, Bronco build phase 2. So we've got the new Emac Servo mounted up on the aluminum Endura servo tray. I actually had a red servo horn lying around that I swapped in there instead of the black that came with the kit. But really, it went on nice and smooth, looks great. One thing with these Emac servos, I don't know if you can see that, but I had to trim the edges on the mounting plates here on the side because it would bind up with the frame. So I had to just kind of trim that down with some snips and smooth it out with some sandpaper. Some rigs you don't have to do that. I didn't have to do that on the Gladiator, but this one I had to. I think on the C10 and the JLU I had to also, but not a big deal. These are just plastic, so they're easy to trim and smooth out. But now we got a nice clean fit. That looks good in there. The motor, so the motor's super clean. I think you just clipped off that one battery tray leg there. The motor fits in nice. It's got this really nice kind of dark anodized color to it. This anthracite color looks really good. So I'm excited to try it out. We also got the Cvd axles in. So this should be some great upgrades as far as steering and performance goes. So let's get it out on the course. We'll do a run and see how much it improved. Alright, here we go. Look at that already. Tons of power in the steering. Oh, the crawling ability of that motor. So smooth. Nice. so good. The throttle response and the low speed crawl of that motor is so awesome. Steering is so nice. Whole different vehicle. Plenty of power. So good. Awesome. All right, let's try one of our challenge lines that we tried last time. This fun one we struggled with last time. We made it up, but it was a difficult one, so let's try it again.
No problem. That motor is so good.
Alright, so as you can see, we got great performance gains out of those mods. And those were some critical ones. I mean, not really upgrading the steering is something that you should do right away, because the stock servos really can't handle much on these little rigs. As soon as you start adding weight, and especially width, they're pretty much done. So that's a huge upgrade. And the motor, I'm really glad we did the motor. I didn't really need it, but now that it's in there and then seeing what a difference it makes, I'm really glad we did. That new torque beast has got such great low end power. It's so smooth off the bottom and just crawls so good. So that was a great set of mods here. And the CVD axles too. You know, the I'll have to get it out on the rocks to really put it through its paces to see how those axles perform at you know, pretty high stress environments and kind of extreme steering angles. But all in all, super impressed with the build so far. It's come a long way. Alright, that's going to wrap things up for Phase 2 of the Bronco build. Stay tuned for Phase 3 as we dig into the steering a little bit more. I think we're going to do probably high clearance linkages, maybe do a 4-link conversion in the front to give it a little more articulation. Probably some more brass around here now that we've got the muscle to push it with this new motor and the heavy-duty steering. But let me know down below what you think in the comments. What should I do next? Any recommendations? If you've built a Bronco, what were your best mods? You know, let me know. I'm excited to keep going with this build. It's been fun so far. It's made a huge transformation just already with these simple mods that we've done. So it's going to be fun to keep this going. I'll put the links in the description down below for all the products that we've got on this if you want to check them out. As always, I thank you for your time. Please give the video a like and subscribe. Stay tuned as we continue to build this thing. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.